serving so many throughout the state. Now therefore be it resolved that on this day, 11th of May, the Community College System Board of Trustees publicly offers a debt of gratitude for the leadership that Dr. Joe Morris exhibited through his hard work, commitment, and dedication to education, and to the students of the great state of Alabama, and hereby names the Joe Morris Technology Center at the Jefferson campus of the Jefferson State Community College in his honor. What a tremendous man, what a great story. Do we have a motion?
Motion by Milton.
Motion by Mr. Davis. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shell. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. The motion carries. I believe Mr. Brown, Dr. Brown would like to speak.
Good morning, Board of Trustees. I appreciate your passing this resolution. It's certainly appropriate. I had the pleasure of working for Dr. Morris for 15 years, and he was a quiet leader, and so you don't really know. He was not, he was internal, Judy Merritt was external, but his fingerprints are still on so many things, not only at Jefferson State, but throughout this system. I'm pleased to be joined by his son, David Morris, who serves as our Chief Financial Officer, and his daughter, Connie Morris-Caskey, who serves as our Department Chair of Communications at our Shelby Hoover campus. So his legacy continues at Jefferson State.
I wanted to thank the board, Chancellor, President Brown, for this recognition for our father. Jeff State means more to our family. Dad knew the contribution it made to the state, along with the lives it changed, and everybody in this room has that part. And it's more than a job. It's a mission, a honor, and I just want to thank everybody here today that had a role in this recognition for my father. Thank you.
I concur. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a privilege it is to be able to see the legacy that that's been left. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. We'll move forward into action item 9A3 for Bishop State Community College for the approval of a naming opportunity. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize the president of Bishop State Community College to name the Health Sciences Nursing Lab number 1 in the Center for Health Sciences for the City of Mobile, and to add appropriate signage. The City of Mobile has provided a gift of $75,000 in this instance. Have we a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shell.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rome. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. The motion carries. Item 9A4, also for Bishop State Community College, another naming opportunity. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize the president of Bishop State Community College to name the Health Sciences Nursing Lab number 2 in the Center for Health Sciences for the City of Mobile, and to add appropriate signage. A gift from the City of Mobile has been made in the amount of $60,000. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shell.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rome. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Continuing in this vein, item 9A5. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize the president of Bishop State Community College to name the conference room in the Advanced Manufacturing Center for the City of Mobile, and to add appropriate signage. The City of Mobile has provided a gift of $15,000.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Shell.
Second.
Second, Mr. Davis. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. And lastly, for Bishop State Community College, it is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize the president of Bishop State Community College to name the Process Technology Lab Mezzanine known as the P-Tech Mezzanine, in the Advanced Manufacturing Center in honor of the late City Council President, Lawson C. Manzi, and to add appropriate signage. For this, the City of Mobile has provided a gift of $100,000. Have we a motion?
So move.
Mr. Shell provides the motion, and we have a second. Second by Mr. Rogers. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Moving along to item 9A7 for Chattahoochee Valley Community College, it is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Chattahoochee Valley Community College to enter into a bookstore operation agreement with Barnes & Noble College, LLC, and charge a $26 per credit hour fee for textbook rental to take effect fall semester 2022. Barnes & Noble College, LLC agrees to spend up to $43,000 for renovations to the bookstore and $3,000 annually to support 2 tuition book scholarships of 5 book-only scholarships per semester. Have we a motion?
Motion by Milton.
Motion by Mr. Davis.
Second.
Second, Ms. Gray. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. The motion carries. All right, that takes care of our executive, legal, and public information. This moves us to Section 10, Personnel.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We have a few announcements today. We have about 10 employees I want to introduce to you all today. The first person is Kathy Carr. Kathy is our business analyst for Elevate. Kathy is a Jefferson State Community College alum. She joined us March the 16th and served in higher education since 2013. Prior to her current position, she served as a junior ERP system analyst for Elevate with ACCS and as an operational manager of ACCS Innovation Center. Prior to joining ACCS, she was an office manager and executive secretary at the Center for Workforce Education at her alma mater. Kathy earned an associate in arts and business from Jefferson State and is a licensed in property and casualty and life and health insurance by the state of Alabama. The following employees began at the system office on April 18, 2022. Hiring Biswas. Hiring is our regional project and facilities director. Hiring joins us with more than 20 years of facilities planning and management and nearly 10 years as a project manager in higher education facilities. Prior to joining the ACCS, he served as the Assistant Vice President for Facilities Management at Clayton State University in Georgia and Director of Facilities Planning and Physical Plant Operation at Middle Georgia College. Hiring earned a Bachelor of Architecture from Louisiana Tech University and is a registered architect. Deanne Cleveland. Deanne is an administrative assistant for physical services. Deanne joins us with 5 years of K-12 experience and 10 years of administrative experience. Prior to joining ACCS, she served as an educator with the Montgomery County Board of Education. Prior to then, she served as an administrative support with both the Alabama Department of Revenue and the Alabama Department of Public Health. Deanne earned a Bachelor's of Business Administration from Faulkner University in Montgomery and a Master of Business Administration from the University of Phoenix. Lamonte Prater. Lamonte is our adult education accountant. Lamonte joined us with 10 years of accounting experience. Prior to joining ACCS, he served as a staff accountant with the State Employees Insurance Board. He also served as a revenue examiner for the state of Alabama. Prior to then, he served as a personal banker for Wells Fargo, an accounting intern at the Montgomery Housing Authority, and a debt collector for Medical Data Systems. Lamonte earned a Bachelor of Science in Accounting from Alabama State University and a Master's of Business Administration from Auburn University. Rachel Thomas. Rachel Thomas is our adult education specialist. Rachel joins us with more than 5 years of higher education experience and 5 years of K-12 experience. Prior to joining ACCS, she served as the QEP Director, Student Success Coordinator, and Instructional Coordinator for Adult Education at Wallace Community College in Dothan. Prior to then, she served as higher school teacher in Vernon, Florida. Rachel earned an associate from Chipola College, Marion, Florida, a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from Florida State University, and a Master of Science in Adult Education and Instructional Technology from Troy University. The following employees began at the system office on May 2nd, 2022. Houston Blackwood. Houston Blackwood is the Workforce Director for the Innovation Center. Houston joins us with more than a decade of K-12 experience and more than 3 years of higher education experience in a community college. Prior to joining Innovation Center in August, he served as the Director of Workforce Solutions at Calhoun Community College. He spent time as a teacher, assistant principal, and a principal in the K-12 in the state. Houston earned a Bachelor of Science in Education and a Master of Arts in Education from the University of North Alabama. He has an Education Specialist degree in Educational Leadership from the University of Alabama. Devin Flowers. Devin Flowers is the Assistant Director of Strategic Enrollment Management for Non-Traditional Students. Devin joins us with more than a decade of higher education experience. Prior to joining ACCS, he serves as the Director of Recruitment and Advising for the University of Alabama at Birmingham. He previously served as the Director of Fast Track Programs, Distance Education, and Adjunct Faculty at Talladega College. He has also worked with colleges' career placement programs and admission. Devin earned a Bachelor of Liberal Arts in Humanities and Social Sciences from Auburn University in Montgomery. He has a Master of Science in Post-Secondary Education and Psychology from Troy University. Brandon Froelich. Brandon is our System Administrator. Brandon joins us with more than a decade of experience in system administration and more than 7 years experience in cloud engineering. Prior to joining ACCS, he served as a senior infrastructure engineer for Simmons Corporation. Prior to then, he served as a systems administrator and associate systems administrator at Elution. He also served as an adjunct professor at Mitchell Community College in Morrisville, North Carolina, for the Intro to Operating System, Networking, and Security Foundation, Visualization Concepts, Linux Server Administration, and Windows Administration. Brandon earned a Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Systems from Gardner-Webb University. Phillip Green. Phillip Green is the Assistant Director of Strategic Enrollment Management Communication. Phillip joins us with more than a decade of higher education. Prior to joining ACCS, he served in various admissions capacities at the University of Montevallo, from an admissions counselor to Associate Director of Admissions and Operation. Phillip earned a Bachelor of Science in Communication Studies and Sociology and a Master of Education in Counseling, both from the University of Montevallo. Brandy Merrill. Brandy Merrill is our Administrator of Learning Repository Architecture for the Innovation Center. Brandon joined us with more than a decade of higher education experience. She has helped plan, develop, and monitor implementations of skills for the success classes with the Innovation Center since October. Prior to joining the Innovation Center, she served since 2009 as Trinidad State Community College Program Director for its ultrasound program. She has completed the ACCS Instructional Leadership Academy in 2020 and received a Chancellor's Award of Excellence. Brandy earned a Bachelor of Science in Radiologic Sciences from Midwestern State University in Texas and a Master of Health Science from Nova Southeastern University in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to you all. We're glad to have you on board. And now the Chancellor's report.
I started to say months, but a couple of years ago, we started a process called Aspire. At the time, we were looking at a certain amount of money. We still have that amount of money, fortunately, about the $300 million, that we are working toward managing the expenditure and the expansion of facilities and improvement of facilities around the state. Each of the schools went through a significant process. In addition to that, we've created internally an organization to help evaluate facilities, their condition, and what it takes to put them to a point where they are acceptable or the kind that we would be proud of, or either to process or to deal with expansion by building other facilities. At the same time, everyone needs to fully understand what's happening in the construction business. I know we have people here in that business, and it's not uncommon for us to see rates that we expect when we start drawing plans to be one thing, and then the cost be as much as 30% more than that. I hope it doesn't go beyond that, but I'm afraid that it may be that way. At the same time, we started developing workforce centers, and many of our schools were requesting that be part of their program and expansion. We reached an agreement with one architectural firm in an effort to try to not replicate the cost and design the centers. And we're currently working on at least six of those centers around the state. We have a lot of work already completed, almost in terms of ready to start advertising for construction. One of those locations is at Sneed's Community College, located in Boaz. In the process of looking at the need for that whole service area, we realized that the population center was not necessarily in Boaz. And Joe, would you come to the... But I want to talk about this, and I've asked our two trustees who attended that meeting to make some comments about it. But this past Friday, we had a major announcement at Boaz to a full auditorium of people. And I thought I saw something that I would call a community college participating in the entire community at that meeting. And Joe led that as president. Would you like to make some comments about it?
Well, I would. Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you, Board, for an opportunity to speak to that. The Workforce Center that we've been planning for Marshall County has been something that has excited the county for a very long time. It's something that they've been asking for a very long time, and we've gotten complete buy-in from the time we started with our Aspire program. We had almost 50 people from business and industry and the different municipalities and the chambers of commerce that participated in our study, and almost all of them were at our event last Friday because we've been keeping them informed of the progress that's gone on, and they're very excited about the programs that we've planned to put into this building. We were very strategic in picking these programs. We looked at hard data that was derived from Department of Labor, from MZ, to see what are the main job demands, not just now, but over the next 10 years. So we took that data and we went out and we visited face-to-face with business and industry, with mayors, with superintendents, and asked the question, what jobs, what kind of programs do you need? And those meshed up perfectly. And we know the exact programs we want to put into our facility there. And when we started announcing that, when we let everyone know that the announcement was imminent and that we were going to be able to announce this, people were flooding in, and we had such a great response. We had every mayor in Marshall County except one. We had every superintendent in Marshall County. We had the chairman of the Marshall County Commission with 3 commissioners. We had the governor. We had representation from the lieutenant governor's office. We had our local legislative delegation. We had our baseball team in the balcony. They were excited about it. And it was just a really great event. And the Chancellor was able to join us. 2 of our Board of Trustee members were there, and several people from our ACCS staff here. I was just very proud of the community. I was very proud of our faculty and staff for helping us put this together. This has been an effort that goes way beyond my office, and it wouldn't have been possible without good help, not just within our college, but in our community. And we were very pleased. And all this week, we're still getting phone calls about what an exciting time that was, that our community is finally seeing results from the effort they put into it. And I think that's what it takes for us to build confidence in the community. That's what it takes for us to have credibility in the community, that we can go out and ask them what they need and then make that good, make that positive and make that happen. And that just continues to build their confidence in us, and it helps them to help us get better as well. So thank you for the opportunity, Chancellor. It was a great event. And I can answer any other questions that you may have.
Well, I'd just like to make a comment, if you don't mind. And first of all, thank you for the invitation to come to that event to Snead State. It was a tremendous event, a huge outpouring of community support, as you mentioned. I was just blown away with all the K-12 support, your business and industry, all your mayors that you mentioned. But I'll also say that you had multiple representatives from the legislature. You had Senator Schofield there. And when he introduced Governor Ivey as Alabama's high stepper, I can tell you everybody in that room was high stepping with pride and excitement about this project. And when I left that day, I felt really, really good knowing that this is going to change lives. This is going to create opportunities in Marshall County and surrounding areas. So I'm hats off to you for pulling this off, and to your staff for doing that. It was evident that the whole county, the whole community is buying into what you're doing there, and I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
Thus,
President Whitmore, I'd like to make a comment too. I appreciate being invited to it, and I know you threw that together on very, very short notice. And I want to commend Mrs. Whitmore too, because she was putting everybody in the right seat and kind of behind the scenes working for you too. But it was who's who in Marshall County, and I'm very familiar with Marshall County, so it was wonderful to see all the leadership. And I don't know about all the counties in this state, but I know some counties have a little friction between some of the towns, and they don't always come together. But you pulled everyone together there, and it was obvious that it was enthusiasm on your part and your leadership, and I appreciate being involved and having a little small part in that. Thank you for doing this. It's a great day.
I think another notable thing that hasn't been mentioned, but this demonstrates the advantage of cooperation between the local K through 12 system and the community college system. And explain what they did.
Well, the Marshall County Technical School is located in the geographic center of Marshall County. Our campus is near the southern end of the county, and one of the things that we learned in our Aspire investigation was that the end users of this center, the business and industry and some of the K-12 told us, you've got a great campus, we love your school, we love what you're doing, but it's really not convenient to where we are. Could we do this center in a place that's more centralized, that's more visible, that's more accessible? So we started looking at that, and we already had a great relationship, a great partnership with the Marshall County Technical School. We teach a lot of courses there. We teach some cybersecurity, some welding, some early childhood development courses there, and we've always maintained that great relationship. So we started looking in that area to see is there a building close by that could possibly work, and we walked through some, and they just weren't feasible. They were going to take so much money to renovate. But the technical school sits on 42 acres of land, and we identified a parcel of that land that it has frontage on a major highway that is right next door to the technical school. And through our partnership with them, we said, would this land be available to us? Could we use this land to build our center? And long story short, they were all on board. They thought having the presence of a community college on the county technical school property was going to be very advantageous to them. So they ended up giving us this property to put the center on. Estimated, not officially appraised, but estimated, it's about a $2 million tract of land that we were able to get with road frontage. And it's that partnership, and that superintendent was there to pledge their partnership for this as well. And we wouldn't have been able to do any of that. As Chancellor said, with the prices going up, we're trying to look at our budget and make sure that we can do this right, and not having to invest in the property was very huge for us. And we're very thankful for that partnership, not just with the county schools, but we also have 4 city school systems that use that center as well, and all of the superintendents are on board with this. So that is a very critical part of what we're able to do.
Thank you, Joe. I think that's a great example of a community college initiating, working together with all governmental agencies that they serve. I've asked Boone if he would give us a quick update on the end of the legislative session.
Good morning, Chairman McAnally. Sounds good. And board members. Like the Chancellor said, the legislative session came to a close last month on April 7th. Since you guys met in the April board meeting, the governor has made decisions on all of the pieces of legislation that passed in that final week and has signed those into law, including the education budget package. And so the Chancellor had asked that I kind of give you just a brief postmortem on where we ended up in the budget process. Again, we had a good budget process this year. ACCS ended up with a total increase of just over $45 million year over year. That represented a 9.7% increase, which, as you know, a lot of things in the legislative process are looked at by percentages, and we had a pretty good percentage compared to other entities. Just some brief points on where some of that money, increased money, went. The biggest portion went to the college O&M. If you remember, we were facing an issue with the 4% pay raise where what had been proposed would not fully fund that. So by working with the legislature through the process, we ended up with an amount that not only fully funds the 4% pay raise, but also includes some additional dollars for inflation and other needs. It also includes a couple of increases to some of the college-specific earmarks. I know our fiscal office is working on formulas and all of that, so that'll be before you guys in the near future at a future board meeting to consider. Prison ed also was a priority of the governor's, and so we got a little over $4 million increase for prison education initiatives. Marion Military Institute got a $725,000 increase. That was for the pay raise, and also funding to operate the Military Hall of Honor, which is on their campus by state law. This is the first time ever that we've been able to get money secured specifically for the Hall of Honor. So we're pleased with that. Adult education and the Alabama Technology Network received smaller increases to be able to fund the 4% pay raise. Dual enrollment, we received a $5 million increase appropriation for dual enrollment scholarships. As you guys know, that's a very popular program with our high school partners, and so we'll be able to provide more funding to our colleges to offer more scholarships next year. We received a couple of new appropriations, first-time appropriations in the budget. We received a $5 million appropriation for career tech equipment upgrades. As you know, that's very important. We hear that from our presidents all the time to stay current with the latest equipment being used in business and industry. That is costly. And so this appropriation will help us start the process to purchase new and upgraded career tech equipment. Also, new appropriation of $2 million in the budget to expand LPN programs in our healthcare, for our healthcare partners. As you know, that's a big need out there, so we're pleased to get an ongoing funding source for that purpose. And then lastly, you guys have gotten plenty of updates on the Innovation Center and what we're doing there. The legislature also provided a $5 million increase for the Innovation Center. So that brings our total amount funded moving into next year to $15 million. So got a nice increase there as well. There was also a couple of other pieces of legislation for one-time improvements and projects that passed, and ACCS received funding in both of those bills. We received $25 million in one-time supplemental appropriations for 12 different college projects that was in a separate piece of legislation. We also received $25 million in the Advancement in Technology Fund, which is going to help us be able to put that with the overall bucket for Aspire projects and be able to do more, you know, with that capital improvement money that we have. So overall, we ended up with 96 million new year-over-year dollars. So it was a great session for the ACCS, and you know, I just want to thank all of you on the board as well as our presidents. You know, the legislature sees me all the time at the State House, but when you guys call and email and message your legislators, they know it's a big deal. It means something. So I want to thank all of you for your help and support during the session. So where we're at now, of course, you know it's an election year. So there's going to be elections taking place later this month, and going into the year through November. We'll have a brand new legislature that comes into place starting next year. It is expected that they may go into a special session later this year to appropriate the second half of the federal ARPA funds that are out there. Then in January, there'll be an organizational session where the legislature will formally adopt new leadership and operational rules for the next quadrennium. And then the 2023 regular session will start in March of next year. So again, thank all of you for your help this session. We had a really good session, and just really looking forward to the future and getting to work with the new legislature. Thank you.
Thank you, Boone. Very good. A lot of great things going on. It's always wonderful to hear these reports, and very thankful for the work that goes on behind the scenes with the staff, and it's very much appreciated. We'll move to item 12, committee reports. Have we any reports? All right. The date and location of our next meeting will be our work session that will follow immediately this meeting. We're going to take just a few moments. We'll actually begin about at 11 a.m., about 10 minutes out for the work session for the May meeting. We'll be meeting back here in the boardroom. Our next Board of Trustees meeting is scheduled to be June 8th at 10 a.m. at a location to be determined. Anything further?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second. We have it. Everybody's in favor, right? Thank you.
Appreciate you coming the other day. I thought that was good. It really was. I was pumped. Oh, I was too. I had to leave early, but had good training. I knew it would turn out well. Everything they do is. Joe had made all the stuff.
If we could, we want to go ahead and get started. Gotta change books here. Yep. All right, we're going to call to order our work session and begin our agenda. And under the executive section, our first item today is from Trentham State for a review of a mission statement.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
The first item on the work session agenda is Trentham State's request for the review and approval of its current mission statement. Are there any questions relating to this item? The next item on the agenda is Southern Union's request for review and approval of its current mission statement. Any questions as to this item? The next item is Bevel State's request for review and approval of its current mission statement. Are there any questions relating to this item?
Thank you, Dave. Next, we have the Northeast Alabama Community College System. This is under instructional research and development for a new applied science degree and certificate in advanced manufacturing. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Kerry Wright, Dean of Workforce Development at Northeast. Just to give you a little brief summary of this program request, this is a program that will take our existing drafting and design program and expand it to a more relevant and functional approach by providing multiple degree paths within that advanced manufacturing degree and certificate program. It came to us as a response to industry needs in our service area, and based on the input we had from industry and from local K-12 school surveys, we see that this approach is going to be something beneficial to industry in that it creates opportunities for us to create more diverse work experience programs. And on the secondary side of the equation, it gives us an opportunity to recruit a broader base of students and provide them more options for degree path and career paths. Is there any questions that I can answer?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Next, Gadsden State Community College, an associate in applied science and certificate in medical assisting. Klein.
Good morning, Chancellor Baker, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Get a presentation pulled up here. But today we have, at the end already. But today we have three items on, we'll be presenting for, we started with Gadsden State Community College. Gadsden State Community College certificate for medical assistant has been a program that has been very much so growing. So they have a certificate and an associate degree program that they're going to be applying for. They've done an outstanding job of identifying the need in Region 2, and they have actually been listed for the ACCCP as medical assistant for one of 25 of the fastest growing in-demand occupations in Region 2 with about 115 average openings. From just a basic standpoint as a medical assistant is really a front office and back office supervisor. And what I mean by front office is that they do a lot of the clerical work up front. They check the patients in, they do EHR, they answer phones, they schedule, but they also do a lot of the back of the house work as we look at it as far as triage is concerned, EKG, phlebotomy, they run diagnostic testing, and then they do patient education with that. As far as the fiscal consideration, this program It is considered consistent with most of our program startups. The college will be seeking accreditation through KHEP and the MAERB once the program has been established. One of the best things that go along with this particular program is that once the students complete, they actually can sit for multiple certification exams, including phlebotomy. But the one that they're going to be looking for is their CMA exam or the Certified Medical Assistant examination through the AAMA. But they also have other opportunities for it to sit for what we call the CCMA, or the Certified Clinical Medical Assistant, through the NHA. This accreditation, or the certification, is portable across all states, all regions, I should say. But along with that, we have a bridge program that has been established that once these students complete their medical assistant degree, they have the potential to bridge into licensed practical nursing programs. And so this is a great opportunity for them. They also have the opportunity to establish dual enrollment programs throughout their area as well. So with that being said, Dr. Murphy and Dean Kirkland, they did a great job of establishing and receiving great levels of support across the board, starting with Gaston Utah Industry Development Authority, Gaston Region Medical, and a number of other clinical affiliates there. The program has been recommended for approval by AIC and will be on the June agenda. Pending any questions, that would end my report for Gaston State Community College.
Question of the board.
Okay. The next that we have on the agenda for the work session is for Coastal Alabama Community College establishing an Associate Applied Science for Respiratory Therapy. This has been something that has been a very, you could say, a hot topic across the state, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. The application for Coastal has been submitted for the Associate Applied Science and projected to begin in spring of 2023. They've done a great job as well identifying a great need, especially with the transition of the pandemic in Region 7, to match a high-growth, high-in-demand job. One of the things that a number of our respiratory therapy programs that we look at is that they work under the direction of a physician. However, they treat a number of individuals from the infants all the way to the elderly for a number of respiratory disorders. But they also do a lot of lab testing, analyzing of sputum and blood and things of this nature to make sure that they have a proper diagnosis for that patient. One of the things that we look at here is, and I'll give you a brief background on this, and you'll see this here, you'll see a picture of it here in a little bit. But for fiscal consideration, startup is consistent across the board. They will be seeking accreditation through COARC. And COARC, for just a brief background, in 2018, COARC stopped accepting applications for associate degree programs, which meaning a number of our two-year colleges weren't able to apply for accreditation for respiratory therapy. And it has been said across the board that employers will not hire individuals that have not graduated from an accredited college. Now, the reason why I pulled this up is I wanted to show you this. Currently, we have 5 of our institutions that have been accredited by COARC and that have respiratory therapy programs. And this opportunity for Coastal is going to also expand and give us to expand our footprint within the state. However, I will share this with you. We also have 2 four-year institutions that offer respiratory therapy program from a baccalaureate degree. And prior to 2018, when they made that statement, they were only allowing us to have those that have baccalaureate degree. And currently, we have Jacksonville State University, and recently, the University of North Alabama is the other four-year institution that has a respiratory therapy program. So with this opportunity being presented to our community college system, we can now continue to expand our footprint across the state. And so here in January 2022, COARC has revised their standards and policies, and now they are accepting new associate degree graduates to apply for initial accreditation for approval. So the college will have to employ a program director and a full-time clinical education director, as it is a part of the standards for that standpoint. The credential obtained will be pulled across all 7 regions. And it also gives the opportunity for, if a student decides that they want to further their education, they can pursue the baccalaureate degree in respiratory therapy at one of those institutions or potentially outside of the state. Dr. Pouncey and Dr. Graham, they also did great jobs of receiving outstanding levels of support, one of the main partners being Thomas Hospital and Infirmary South. The program has been recommended for approval by AIC and will be on their June agenda. Pending any questions, that is my report for Coastal Alabama Associate Applied Science and Respiratory Therapy.
You have any opinions or thoughts any other opinions or thoughts as to why COARC decided to come back to the community, to your schools? I suspect it may be a recent health condition that you experienced.
Recent health condition and probably finances. And the reason why I say that is if you have limited to the baccalaureate degree, but you only had one college at the particular time, Jacksonville State, your resources weren't coming in as they should.
Gotcha.
Now, however, if you see that the two-year colleges here in the state are operating and they're functioning and they have gone through those different reviews and things of this nature or visits, they are now continuing what the trend is for respiratory therapists across the state. So I believe that was really one of the growth reasons.
Very good.
So at this time, I'll introduce Trenton State Community College Representative Dr. Nakia Robertson. She will be presenting for the Medical Laboratory Technician, Associate Applied Science.
Right there. Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm here this morning seeking approval for a new program for the Medical Laboratory Technician. This is an Associate of Applied Science degree. In general, when we look at the Medical Laboratory Technician program, this prepares individuals under the supervision of a clinical laboratory scientist or medical technologist to perform routine medical laboratory procedures and tests, and to apply the preset strategies to record and analyze data. So nationally, according to the U.S. Bureau of Statistics, it's projected that there will be 11% increase in job opportunities for individuals in this field. And this is above average when we compare that to other healthcare careers in which there's projected to be an 8% increase. When we look here locally in the state of Alabama, the Alabama Department of Labor projects that there will be a little over 2,700 new jobs in clinical and medical laboratory technicians by year 2024. So what does a medical laboratory technician do? They collect and run samples to determine the presence or cause of disease to ensure treatments are properly categorized and safe for patients. So some general job duties include collecting samples like urine, bodily fluids, tissue samples, performing analytical diagnosis, testing with the use of sophisticated lab equipment, analyzing samples and recording of normal and abnormal findings, and discussing these test results with individuals like healthcare professionals and physicians. Upon approval of this program, we plan to seek, Upon approval of this program, we plan to seek accreditation through the National Accrediting Agency for Clinical Laboratory Sciences. And as stated, this program is a terminal degree where the curriculum consists of 69 credit hours. And upon graduation, our students will be able to sit for the National Board of Certification by the American Society for Clinical Pathology. This certification will be portable across all 7 workforce regions. And students, if they want to pursue further education, there are bridge programs. For example, at Auburn University at Montgomery, they have a medical science degree, 4-year degree. We sought preliminary information from our students and our staff and our healthcare facilities about the need for this program. We had a great return rate on our surveys, and as you can see, we received many letters of support from the healthcare facilities in our area for this program. In summary, the MLT program will provide students with another option of a healthcare occupation. The program will assist in fulfilling a need for medical laboratory technicians in the college's service area and in the state of Alabama. And the program is recommended for approval by AIC and is on its June agenda. Any questions?
Questions from the board? Thank you. Appreciate the work. And I just say, we often say, but the letters of support are very important to us, and we appreciate the work that you have pursued getting those.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Klein. Next, we have a request from Snead State.
Thank you for allowing me to address you again. I want to lay just a little bit of groundwork on this request for our welding technology program. You heard me talk a few minutes ago about our Aspire efforts to see the programs that were needed in that area, and of course welding is one of those. When we started our Aspire program, our college had inherited some accreditation issues with SACs that we spent about a year trying to overcome. Over the next several months and year, we're going to start bringing forth the programs that we want to house in our new facility. We want to be very strategic in doing this. We don't want to wait to the last minute and start having to get programs approved when we're ready to open the doors. We want to open the doors of our facility and have our programs standing and ready to go. Welding is something that's very critical in our area. We have no welding facilities on our campus. We have some welding courses that are embedded in our industrial technology program. We're using I mentioned our partnership with Marshall Technical School. We have equipment there that we can teach welding. We have a mobile welding lab in one of our parking lots, thanks to Ed Castile from AIDT. If you see Ed, express our appreciation that he's allowed us to use that mobile trailer. And if you want to nudge him and ask him to leave it there a little bit longer, that would be great too. We took the wheels off of it, so it won't be easy for him to come back and get. But this is one of our most critical programs that we want to present as a standalone program. I've got Dr. Greg Randall that's here. Greg is our executive director of workforce enhancement, and he will present the details of the program and answer any questions for you.
Good morning, Greg Randall. Thank you so much for having me this morning. And one of the things that we're wanting to do is our Aspire plan. This is really a direct result. Like Dr. Whitmore said, this is the first of 3 programs that we're going to be putting into our Marshall County and our local area. 2013, Snead State and Marshall County Technical School entered into an agreement that Dr. Whitmore spoke of in terms of facilities versus equipment. We have currently at Marshall Technical School, they have about 600 high school students. About 47 of those students are in the welding program, and as a matter of fact, they are at the point where they're having to put a waiting list. They're turning students away from the 5 county schools and some of the city schools there. And so this has caused us, not only the Aspire plan, but working in dual enrollment. This is a big goal of ours. I think the uniqueness of having a college workforce center on the campus of a county technical school is enormous. And we have plenty of students there who are very interested in dual enrollment opportunities. We have the normal, our traditional and non-traditional students. And so in 2013, we entered a partnership with non-credit. And so we do a lot of non-credit welding there at the facility. We are, as Dr. Whitmore said, we have a very small short certificate embedded into our industrial systems technology program. The reason for that was try to quickly address some of our Aspire issues that we had with our business and industry concerning the welding profession. And so we're very excited for the opportunity to be able to have a 2-year degree in welding technology. It's important for us that as part of the 2-year degree, there will be 3 stackable certificates, all that would lead to American Welding Society certification for our students, both dual enrollment and our traditional student population. And so we're very thankful for your consideration and whatever you could give to allow us to continue on our Aspire plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, very good. We'll be moving on now to workforce development.
Dr. Whitmore, Mr. Randall, I appreciate you making that presentation. You were much more prepared to do it eloquently than I would have been. So moving on to workforce, Chairman McNally, immediate past Chairman Davis, Board of Trustees members, Chancellor. Today I'm here to request your consideration for funding $460,000 out of the FY 2021-22 2022 Education Trust Fund Industry Certification Initiative funds. Chattahoochee Valley, as you're aware, recently acquired Pitts property from Troy University, and they're converting that into a workforce training center. These funds will be used to purchase training equipment to support the expansion and modernization of their applied technology programs. And in particular, the funds will be focused on the industrial maintenance program. We'll be looking at purchasing PLCs, industrial robotics, industrial mechanics, motor controls, AC/DC electricity, and fluid systems. The purchase of this equipment will assist the college in being able to increase the quality of instruction within the applied technology programs. It will provide students with access to current technologies that are used in industry, and it will help the college attract and recruit students into those programs by offering modern state-of-the-art equipment. Do you have any questions? Questions from the board?
Thank you, sir. Next, we move into facilities.
Good morning, board members and Chancellor Baker. We have 6 projects here for your consideration this morning. The first is Bishop State. This is our CARES Act for COVID-related capital renewal. This is one of 3 that we have been discussing now for 2 months, and we are prepared to move forward with equipment purchases that we anticipate that we will bring back as recommendations to you as early as next month. The rest of the facility renewal pieces are still under design and working with architects and engineers. At Bishop, we are targeting the 3 campuses within the city limits there, the main campus, the Southwest, and Carver. At the locations of where these buildings are at on the main campus, we are targeting the gym and the Cultural Arts Center for renovation. As we look at this, we are estimating on this end, the 2 other projects that I'll share with you, as much as recovering or applying 90% of the spend and tying it back to CARES. We've been in recent meetings with the federal government, and the attorneys that are working with us are helping our design teams at this location and others to effectively and tie this back so that we have a strong case for the use of the COVID funds. The other building that we're looking at is a partial renovation at Dell Champs, which is the auditorium and the fine arts portion on the back of the building. It is still questionable as to what we will do with the remainder of Dell Champs, but that's where we're applying our monies on the main campus. In the Southwest campus, we have buildings 100, 200, 300, and 400. Some of this is work that was started that we'll be able to go back in and complete as renovation work in the 100 and partly the 200 building. We are also trying to stretch dollars down into the 300 and the 400 building. On the Carver campus, this is the Robertson Building. It's divided up into 3 uses: administration, culinary, and plumbing. As we look at this building, our efforts here, again, as with the other buildings, is to completely do a renovation, focusing on new systems, and so that when we are finished, that the building is refreshed internally and externally and looks new. And that is our effort as we try to repurpose these for the next 40 years. The scope of the work, again, ties back to improved air quality and the control and transmission of COVID in the facilities. Down in the campus that we have at Bishop, we are working with the architectural firm, which is GMC. This is divided into 2 parts. We are working at this point to identify equipment orders that we can put out. We have lead times as much as 60 weeks. And so we are anxious to get these orders identified ahead of putting the project out to bid. The engineers are really doing a lot of work at this particular time to accomplish that for us. The budget that we have set and established down at Bishop at this time is just shy of $38 million. You can see that more than $27 million for CARES funds will go towards that effort, and then the balance will be made up with local and ACCS Aspire funds and other sources. Board members, any questions about Bishop and this project?
Mark, are the equipment orders Do they have to go through the bid process?
That's
State bid?
It's a good question. What we have done is that the examiner's office and the Department of Finance allow us to use purchasing agreements. And so there are several firms that have been identified on there specifically for mechanical, and we'll be able to work through them and put these orders into production.
Very good.
The next project is also a CARES Act project at Drake State. At this location at Drake, we are targeting 2 buildings. One is the library, and then the other building is the 700 building. In these cases, we will be modernizing systems mechanically, electrical, and plumbing. We can tie much of this back to the use of CARES. The unique thing about Drake and what President Sims is doing is that she has taken underutilized space in the library and repurposing it for student use and other programs. So as we vacate the 700 building, she is also repurposing that for the nursing and healthcare type programs. Again, this is tied back to the control and transmission of COVID and improved air quality. We will see coming forward next month as well equipment orders for this location that we anticipate in June and in July. Budget is established at just less than $12 million. We see construction being just under 10. The CARES funding from this location is approximately $8 million, and then the rest of it being made up with local and system funds. Board members, any questions about Drake? The next project is Lawson. This is our 3rd CARES Act COVID-related capital renewal project. This project does impact 2 locations. One is at the Birmingham campus, and the other one is down in Bessemer. We've identified 7 buildings at this particular college. On the Birmingham campus, you can see that we've identified the buildings in the quad, and then we're also approaching the ACAP building, which has a substantial amount of space that we can utilize more, that will be repurposed for administrative functions that will move out of Building A. Building B and C are primarily directed towards academic uses and for the sciences. The library and Building A are being identified at this time for healthcare programs, and the architects are working with us on that. Down in the Bessemer campus, we've identified 2 buildings. One is for workforce, and then the other building is for their diesel mechanic program. Again, as we go into these buildings, we'll be identifying and renovating the facility to give us another 35 to 40 years of life and renewal of the space. Indoor air quality and the transmission of COVID is the focus. We do anticipate equipment orders again coming forward as early as June and into July. Budget set for this project is just shy of $36 million, more than $28 million of that being identified from CARES funds that the college is redirecting towards this use. Board members, any questions about Lawson State?
Are you able to leverage our buying power across, these projects with this equipment to try to improve on schedule or get better pricing?
We hope so. These are substantial orders. These are not ordinary projects, and so we do anticipate being able to see what we can get and make that, bring that to our advantage here at the system. The next project is Marion Military. This is one that we have been working on for some time. It is the new dining hall that will also impact the existing tennis courts that are at the facility. Out at the campus there, this gives you a layout of the main part of the academic area of the campus, which has an existing dining hall. The box that highlights the tennis courts is where the new dining facility will go. At Then we will take and relocate the tennis courts as part of this project over to what is more traditionally the athletic portion of the college. This are some of the renderings. This is an exterior elevation and profile that has been identified for the building. And then as we go into the dining hall, you can see what will be available to the students and the rendering the architects have provided here. We've also included in this project, board members, a conference and a nice hall that is also available for functions and other programs that they wish to have in the building. This will be an addition of more than 17,000 square feet and space that is available to the college and the institute for their programs. We expect that bids will be coming back into us over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We did a pre-qualification of contractors earlier this week. The budget for the project at this time is now at $12 million. Construction is estimated somewhere between about 8.9, and perhaps it could go up as high as 9.1. So the tennis courts, that spend right there is going to be $1 million for relocating those facilities. Any questions about this project? You can note and see with the cost of new construction that this soars over $500 a square foot. I'll speak to that for a minute. I would say 2 months ago, we had sticker shock when we were hearing the industry was telling us that our projects were bidding new at over $500 a square foot. So we knew this was coming. This is a little bit of a concern because dining halls typically have more intensive work for plumbing, electrical, and so forth for kitchen equipment. So if we can come at this number here compared to what we see the return on projects across the state, then we feel very confident and successful that we've done well considering what the market is making or delivering to us at this time. Any questions about Marion Military Institute?
Mark, could you talk to what the existing dining, the use of the existing dining hall once the new one is there and the tennis courts?
That is a great question. The Institute currently at this time, they want to repurpose it. I don't think we have a clear picture of the exact use of what they want to do with the facility, but we thought initially that it might be a consideration just for taking it down, but they have other plans that they're asking us to consider at this time to repurpose and keep the space.
Well, actually, the current dining is in the basement area.
Yes.
Of the dorm. And so the real issue is what are we going to do with all of that? And we're still struggling with the final column.
Trying to move this clicker as quick as possible. Bevel State. At this location at the college, we are taking on a series of roofing projects at both Jasper and the Summerton locations and communities. As we take a look at what's happening at in the city of Jasper, off the main campus, we have a machine tool and a welding technology building. And these buildings, they're somewhat connected, but they have two roof systems that are leaking, and so we're planning to go through and do improvements and re-roofing where necessary to extend the life of these systems. When we come back to the Summerton campus, or just within the city of Summerton itself, we have the mining technology simulation coal mine. This one is the larger of all the projects within the Bevel system and leaks quite effectively. It does simulate, I'm sure, what happens in the mines when it does rain. However, we are trying to create an instructional space free of that environmental element. Going back to the Jasper campus, there are 3 buildings identified here. Clem's Gym, Roland Education, and then across the street, we will be re-roofing the shingles on the Nicholson Library. When we come down to the bids, those will be returning back to us later this month. And the budget set for this project is just a little bit more, well, it's just under 1.6 million. We have seen success with roofing projects in the last few months that have been at and under budget, and we hope that that trend continues to be the same as we receive those returns. Board members, any questions about the roof work that's being done at Bethel? And then the last project that we have, board members, for your consideration is at Enterprise State. Down there, we are working on a project where we'll be performing renovations at both the softball and the baseball complex. This is a shared project between the City of Enterprise and the community college. The scope of the work involves the city participating in adding and working on parking, that shared responsibility and cost. And then the remainder of the work is going to include our part, which is irrigation, landscaping, new concessions, new bleachers, backstop and netting. And then we're taking an alternate in there for a new press box. Bids will come in just prior to the next board meeting as we go into the month of June. And the budget that is set for this particular project is just a little under $900,000. Construction is about $750,000. Board members, any questions about the Enterprise State baseball and softball project? Board members, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Last item on our work session agenda is for legal.
This is Drake State's request for approval of the Alabama Community College System purchasing for the use and benefit of the college 4 small parcels of land that are completely surrounded by college property. The purchase of these parcels is part of the college's strategic plan, and these 4 parcels have been appraised for the sum total of $5,000. This purchase is a little bit unique in that the college is actually purchasing the property from the college's foundation, who stepped in and purchased the property because the former owner would not accept less than $10,000. The college is purchasing the property for $5,000 from the foundation. Are there any questions relating to this item?
No questions, just happy to see the collection of these properties come to fruition, and I know that Dr. Sims has been working to be able to expand the footprint, which is somewhat, had been limited prior to acquisitions, and it's nice to see these small pieces come in.
Well, this will give the college an unencumbered parcel of land.
Thank you, David. That's everything that we have on our agenda for a work session. Anything else from the board? If not, we'll consider ourselves adjourned.